Welcome, everybody, to Catfish Weekly. Along with James Smith, I'm Lyle Stokes, and James. We're going to have a fun show tonight with K&B Anglers.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we finally got two on here that's uglier than me and you.
They might be more full of it than me. I don't know. That's pretty tough.
Welcome, Kevin and Pop.
Before we get started, I would like to mention for everybody that hasn't heard, and even for the ones that has heard, our good buddy JR, or Paul, has been in the hospital. He went in for a surgery that was supposed to be an in and out type thing, and he had some kind of reaction while he's in there, and he has been really fighting it. He's a fighter. He'll do fine. I read all the messages and get messages from his daughter, who's making daily and sometimes multiple daily posts. But please keep him in your thoughts and prayers. JR will get out of there, and he'll be back in that truck before you know it, catching fish with his buddies and having a good time. And I noticed in chat that Roger had mentioned that he had a fishing buddy his that was in an accident over the weekend. Please keep those folks in your thoughts and prayers too. We want to keep our fishing family as tight and as close and as healthy as we possibly can. So with that being said, welcome everybody. And James, these guys have been around. They do some really cool videos. They fished a tournament you was in the other day, got wet and had a good time. And what more could you ask for?
And another one of the people that's usually in chat with us, PD, was in a bad wreck the other day.
Oh, wow. Didn't do that.
That brand new truck somebody run a stop sign and hit him broadside in it.
Oh, wow.
That's about a year later from what his last wreck was, wasn't it, Kevin? Just about a year to the day.
Just almost to the day. I talked to him today, and he said he's doing good. He was working on Tom Jenkins' boat last couple of days and was real sore, but he had told Tom they had all that prearranged, and Tom come on down out of Pennsylvania and he worked on his boat, got it running, and said he was sore as rip, but he was still kicking. Said the baby's doing real good, just got a few bruises and some cuts on her, and but the baby's doing real good.
Well,
because they hit right at her door.
We're lucky that they wasn't hurt any worse than they was.
Oh, yeah. He shared some pictures with us. It was a bad deal. I mean, you look at those pictures and you wonder, how did they make it out alive?
Yeah.
Ain't but one way. And
that's right.
And that's one way they made it out alive.
Right. Hey, Dexter's in chat tonight. Welcome, Dexter.
Dex, what's going on, buddy? Hey, Dex. Hey, happy birthday to Dex. His birthday, I think, is technically yesterday. But, yeah, happy birthday to you, buddy.
We got a bunch of folks in chat. We'll go through some names a little bit later on. But what got you guys started in making YouTube videos, Kevin?
Just wanting to showcase what we did. I've told the story several times, but we still showcase what we did because we haven't done much lately. But anyways, but yeah, we just got out there and started doing some fishing, and then started looking at YouTube and, saw what everybody else was doing and said, we can do that ourselves. And so we did. And here believe it or not, it's been 3 years. I can't believe it's been 3 years since we first started.
That's awesome. So is the success that you guys had with YouTube videos, is that why Pop started doing the cooking shows, or is it something that he just wanted to do on his own?
I'm going to turn that over to Pop. Go ahead.
Actually, the cooking show has been in the making for a year. Kevin and I were kicking ideas around like we usually do out on the boat and sitting around the house here and stuff. I've been in restaurant business off and on a good bit of my life, so I enjoy cooking. I enjoy cooking the old Southern country dishes more so than a lot of the more modern stuff. And I was looking at a lot of YouTube cooking shows, and I told Kevin, I said, a lot of people are asking us about doing a catch, clean, and cook. I said, why don't we just do a YouTube channel, just a cooking show, and let one channel bounce off of the other, reflecting back into, and grow two channels together. Because I have no clue how to edit a video. If I did the editing, oh my gosh, yeah. Some of the explicitives that you hear me utilizing when big fish are being pulled in, you'll probably be all over that video.
I cut quite a bit out whenever I'm editing. I can promise you that. If I took all of what I've edited and made one video of it, it would be just one big bleep.
Believe me, I understand exactly what you're saying.
So in doing so, we decided that after we kicked it around for a year, ideas, what to do, things we could do. At first, we were talking about just pulling up on an island out in the middle of the lake somewhere and taking a cast iron skillet, and build us a fire and cook us up some fish because people were asking for that. And then finally, I told him, I said, look, let's just make a YouTube channel. Let's just feature the fishing aspect. Gives us a different outlet, because I knew that the YouTube cooking channels did real well. And in fact, the cooking channel now has actually gone international. I mean, you would be surprised if you went in and looked, you would be surprised how many of the UAE countries are on my channel sharing my video all over the world. Or I say mine, it's actually ours because we work together on it.
That's awesome.
It's all over the place. And it gives us an outreach to share our style of fishing with a lot of the UAE countries that may or may not know about it. And so when I see somebody that is in the channel making comments, I make reference to the fact of the K&B Angler channel, and I haven't got with Kevin to see if he actually has noticed any changes as far as any of the things that are going on with the K&B anglers, the UAE countries coming in, looking, commenting, and so forth. But both channels complement each other and works great for us. Plus, as you saw, we did the bluegill catch, clean, and cook. Before long, we're going to do a catfish cooking show. We're kicking ideas around because Kevin Basin is not only my editor, he's somewhat of a producer because he kicks his ideas my way as to what we think we need to do with the cooking channel. So, so far it's working real good for us.
That's great. You know, one of the things that is a great success for what you do is the father and son aspect of it. Now you have Kevin's son in doing video with you too. One of my things for a long time has always been the husband and wife, girlfriend, boyfriend type fishing teams in the tournament industry. From that end of it, I always thought that was a great deal. Yeah, it costs more to do it that way, but it is an extremely effective way for people to fish because you're so familiar with them. And I'm sure that it's the same way with you guys and even with Kevin's son, because he fishes with you guys a lot. And I'm sorry that I can't remember his name, but
Kyle.
What?
It's Kyle.
Kyle. Hell, you'd think I'd remember that. But, you know, you guys out there, like in Jeff's tournament, you guys had a great time. Pouring down rain, you still had a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that's one of them rains that you better have your bilge pump on.
I've been in them. They suck, man.
I tell you what, I actually forgot to turn that bilge pump on, and we were sitting out there and waiting on the next bite, and I happened to go back, to the rods and checking the lines and making sure everything was good and tight. And I looked down, and I swear the bottom of my transom was like roughly that far from the water. And I was like, holy crap, what's going on? And then I might want to hit that bilge pump.
You know, Kevin,
like the dam had been let go.
I think that one of a great tip would be for anybody that has a bilge pump go out to install one of the automatic ones. So when the water level gets so high, it kicks on automatically. I think that's is something that everybody should do. Now, my boat has a 1,100 gallon per hour pump in it, and they're not that expensive, but I can't make myself just take it out because it works, you know. But when it goes bad, it will probably have a 1,600 gallon per hour on an automatic deal to where when the water level gets about this high, it kicks on and it'll just pump it right out. And then I don't have to worry about forgetting to do it, because I do forget to do it. Like you're saying, I forgot to do it a number of times. And I've also had live wells that the switch get turned on and it would pump water in faster than the drain would let it out. The next thing you know, it's running over the door in the live well, filling the boat up too. And if you forget to turn the bilge pump on, pretty soon you're full of water. So I think it's a good idea to do that.
See, we on pontoon boats, we don't have to worry about that crap.
No, you don't.
You got to worry about anchors getting caught up in artificial reefs.
Yeah. Oh,
man.
That son of a gun hurt 3 of us.
My phone's trying to die on me. Give me a second here. I'm going to plug up while we talk.
Okay. Yep, no problem. We'll keep going. Sonny, my buddy Sonny Parker is in here in the chat tonight. I'm sure that him and James Dockery will be going at it shortly in chat, so watch out for that. I wouldn't do anything to instigate between either one of them or both.
Yeah, but now I remember my old catfish boat, the one I told you I had named Catmandu, old Tri-Hole, old Glastron. I've left a plug out the back of that before.
Me too.
And I have to run that son of a gun wide open down the water to get the water out of that son of a gun, boy. And them old Tri-Holes are heavy anyway.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to see Cindy upset, you forget to plug in a boat and then wait about a year and do it again. That second time, she's really smoking hot. She
After I done that, I put a plug on my boat keychain. An extra plug, just so before I started that boat, I knew I had to put that plug in.
That's right.
I knew I had to. So I never again.
Lynn Lang put a sticker on the back of Doc's boat, so don't forget the plug, baby. And I got to tell you, I'm going to promise you, I've done it twice with Cindy in the boat. And I will never forget it again, because when we go to launch out, I promise you, she will ask me no less than a dozen times if I got that plug in that boat. Because the last time I had to put the boat up on the ramp and crawl out in the water and put it in because I'd forgot it. And then we turned around and we got in Memphis, and we was fishing and had a guy with us. He was sitting there and he says, "Hey, did you forget to put the plug in the boat?" I said, "No, I put the plug in the boat." He said, "Well, where'd this come from?" I said, "It's a spare, isn't it?" It wasn't. He bailed off in the Mississippi River, put the plug in, we turned the pumps on. So, yeah, I guess it was 3 times that I forgot it. So, yeah, Cindy is never, ever going to let me forget it again, ever. And that's okay, because I don't want to forget it anyhow. Them young guys, they can bail off in them rivers and put them plugs in. Well, this old man ain't doing that too much anymore. We're just going to go into a boat ramp, run up on a boat ramp. I'm going to crawl around and do it that way like I did the time before.
And see, we didn't have, back then, my old boat didn't have no pump in the bottom of that son of a gun. So I run it as hard as I could up the lake for as long as I could till I thought enough water got out of it. And then we bailed off and shoved the plug in it. And it's still rode kind of heavy in the back end. That old Tri-Hole is heavy, boy. That's a heavy freaking boat.
I got to stop for a minute, you guys. Sonny Parker just made a post in chat. He would like to know who would support a GoFundMe page for Lyle to take James Dockery out fishing for a day and do a live feed. You ain't got enough money, Sonny. Ain't got enough money, Sonny. You're going to have to come down and go with me because I don't think the two of us in a boat by ourselves for one day would do it. You got to come down and bail us out. Sorry, guys. But I just thought that needed to be said.
Well, all I say, when y'all do it, make sure there's somebody to film all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I volunteer.
Yeah.
You know, people think that a lot of us are aggravated with each other or mad or making fun of each other. There's a core group of guys, and you guys being part of it, that we have a lot of fun riding on each other. And for those of you that are new to what's going on, don't think anything about it because we get along really well, and it's all in fun. I see John Jeffcoat's in here. He said he that I could fish with him for free. That'd be awesome, man. We'll get together sometime to make that happen because this guy's doing some. In case you guys don't know, One Over Outdoors is doing some amazing videos and stuff, and he will be on Catfish Weekly. I believe the 14th of September. So be prepared for that. It's going to be a blast. But tonight,
Yes, sir.
it's A and B. Hey, JR is in chat. Welcome, JR.
Now, Kevin and Pop, I know y'all kind of rag each other out there on the water who's going to catch the biggest fish. But Pop's always saying that he's in the back of the boat. But for some reason, in the back of the boat usually does pretty good. Pop, you got any secrets about the back of the boat fishing for us?
I got this. He hangs his feet off the back of the boat. He hangs his feet. He takes his boot. I caught him one day. I was up on the front. I'm sitting back. I'm watching my rod. And his rod goes off. And he jumps up and, and he's reeling down on it. And I'm like, okay, all right. Well, let me get turned around here while I get the net. And I turn around and I look and I'm going, Pop, when did you take your shoes off? He goes, how you think I got that catfish? Caught him. It's true.
Yeah.
I am a fisherman.
They say catfish like smelly stuff, huh?
Oh, yeah.
And that story was on Facebook, and you can believe anything you see on Facebook, right?
Exactly.
There you go.
Thank you.
Fish, and they can't believe that.
Yeah, no. And now Pop, you still use them 808s and stuff, don't you?
Actually, I gave my wife, when she got interested in fishing for catfish, because she had seen me land some big ones when she and I were out fishing.
Right.
And she got interested in it, so she said, I can't use those rods like you've got. I said, no, but you can use these 888s. And so I gave those to her once I built my rods up to where I wanted them with the rods that I fished with. And so now she fishes with the 888. So yeah, they're still being used in the family.
Good.
But I passed them to her, and she actually landed her PB, which was 10 pound and 9 ounces, 2 ounces. Yeah, she just corrected me. 10 pound, 2 ounces, blue cat on the 888 off of a pier, and I had to reach over to get this 10-pound fish up, and I swear he felt like he was 100 pounds trying to come straight up and up and up and over from about 6 foot down with that net. But she was proud of that. And the sad part was, I went to take a picture and I realized my phone was at the house. So I told her, I said, well, give me your phone so I can use your camera to get a picture of this. She said, it's at the house plugged up. Both of us had went fishing that day and left our phones plugged up at the house to charge up. So we don't have a picture of it, but we'll get some pictures of her with some big fish.
But that's a good day because you was completely out of touch with society and technology. You was just down there enjoying each other a day on the water. It don't get no better than that.
Hold on, Patriot. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Always out of touch with reality. Why do you think I'm here for it? I have to tell him every day, Pop, make sure you bait.
Hey.
Pop,
But that could be a good thing.
That's okay.
Shoes on.
When you out of touch with society, that means you get to smile all the time.
See, he doesn't understand, and I've tried to explain it to him. He'll tell me on Sunday afternoon, hey, Pop, Wednesday, we need to go fishing. We need to make a video. We need to go fishing. It's going to be a pretty day. I say, okay. And then the next thing you know, Pop, when you going to take a bath? I'm not. Why not? I don't know. One, you don't take a bath for a whole week. Two, you don't change the oil.
Hold on, y'all. I forgot I had this on.
Oh, yeah, you better silence that other app.
Yeah.
Three, don't put on any kind of cologne because the fish can smell it on the bait. And he's like, but Pop, you stink. I said, yeah, the fish know that. That's why I can't fish.
That's why I put him out in the back of the boat.
And that's why I got the back of the boat. And he always puts the boat headed into the wind. I never could figure that out. I thought, I'm like,
well, I got this. So when the boat's in front, into the wind, then everything is flowing to the back of the boat. So if it's all flowing to the back of the boat, then it's permeating the water. I mean,
right.
The way you feel sometimes,
fish.
It's going to permeate the water. I can promise you.
Oh, but I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Kevin. You finally told me you looked out for me. Made me look good on film.
Hey, I told you I'd make you famous.
I have a question in chat for you, Kevin.
I'm sorry?
I have a question for you in chat.
Yes.
Palmetto Cats wants to know, K&B, is the mustache gone for good now?
No, it's still here. I just keep it short.
Oh, okay.
It's still here.
Yeah, Kevin, the reason I said you better keep that other app shut down, he just showed up in chat. You might not know whatever comes out of Pill and Drag when he comes on board.
Welcome, Peeler.
I love Peeler. I do.
Yeah.
He's a super guy. I seen he was in the boat with Paula Smith and her husband. Yep, that's awesome.
Well, yeah, they did real good too.
Yep.
Well, he did anyway.
Yeah. Yep. Heck yeah.
Yeah, that other app you got, what was it? Justin Fishing Fetish was live one night and Peeling come blaring in there one night. He was trying to shut it down. What's the name of that app? I forget the name of that app.
Zello.
Yeah, Zillow. And we
yeah.
got all that started back at the tournament. That come in handy during the tournament too, didn't it?
Yeah. All that, the Zello app. As a matter of fact, you were the one to tell me about the Zello app, and then we just kind of passed it around. And then after your tournament was over, then there was about 10 of us.
I just kept it on.
And became, brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, we was already friends, you might say, but through the YouTube, world, and then we just became brothers, became real close, and Peeling was one of them. PD, of course, was the other. Catman, Jim Clark, he was one. Old Richard, War Scout. Yeah. We just kind of we keep in touch daily on this thing. So I have to remember when I'm doing these. I have to shut that off. We can get right raunchy after a while, and they'll try and embarrass me. Not, they intend to try and embarrass me. So if they know I don't have it on.
Well, that thing's like them old Nextel phones, the push to talk Nextel phones, and it'll all be nice and quiet, and all of a sudden, because I scared the crap out of Jim right after everybody for the tournament. Jim come in his house one night, it pitched black, and by the time he reached for the daggum light socket, I said, hello, anybody in there? And he said he'd like to just crapped all over himself, son.
I can't think of anybody I'd rather see that happen to Jim Clark.
I bet he's dancing around like a little girl over there trying to turn the light on. Oh!
I'd love to have a video of that and then send it to his daughter.
Oh yeah. She would have loved that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Because he wouldn't have showed her. He would never do that to K-Bug.
Oh, K-Buzz growing up though. She
Oh my gosh, I seen pictures of her the other day, and you know, you guys do a lot of video stuff out around people, and I do a lot of stuff. We've done videos and live feeds from big events all over the place. And I think my favorite interview of all times was K-Bug Clark at Monsters on the Ohio a few years ago.
that was a good one.
A little bit of a thing, and she was very well spoken. She loves the sport of catfishing, just as sweet as she can be. And I seen a picture of her the other day. She's almost grown up. Jim's going to have to be really cautious now, or he'd be getting himself in trouble beating them boys off. But
Yeah.
I seen Chad and Dee's daughter, a picture of her today, and I believe they said it was her first day at junior high. They'll be watching her pretty close too, because them boys are going to be coming to see, and old Chad's bald head might not scare them off.
Yeah. Well, I figured, yeah, we'll probably be seeing less of K-Bug, you know, when they start hitting them teenage years, early preteens and stuff like that. You know, daddies ain't cool no more.
Well, that's right. But I got to tell you, like I say, I will never forget that interview with her. She was excited to do it. I was thrilled to have her on there, and she done a bang up job. And I don't know. I don't see Jim in here tonight, but
Yeah, he said he wet his pants that night when I hollered at him.
I'll bet. I'm thinking that she was probably 8 or 10 years old, maybe 12. I don't know. She wasn't very old, but we had a really, really fun time with her, and she done a great job. So future of our sport right there, folks.
Right. Fishing with the squirrel. No, I wished I did have some metal art that looked that good. This is the green screen. I seen it on as a page on Facebook that they do metal work like that, and I just took a screenshot of it. Anytime I see something pretty like that, I take a screenshot to kind of change it up every week now that I know how to do that.
We was talking about that for the show, Kevin and Pop and I, and it looks amazing. I really like that image.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Pretty cool. Hey, Lyle.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about
Yes.
K-Bug. So whenever after you sent me the request for tonight, I was talking to Jim and them. I was like, well, it looks like we're gonna be on Catfish Weekly. And Jim's like, really? And I was like, yeah. He goes, yeah, K-Bug's done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, but I haven't. Well, technically I have, but you know, because we did it.
You know what? We was down at Jim and Sheila's every year for years and years and years. He had the opportunity to sit in there with us a number of times because he was there and never did do it. So I don't feel sorry for him, but we could always set Jim up on a show. I mean, that wouldn't be a problem.
K-Bug started high school today, he said.
K-Bug,
It don't seem like it, does it?
it doesn't seem possible. Man, oh man.
You know, I love watching, you know, a lot of these different shows like Wyatt Life. Jake and them are just some good, wholesome people, and watching Ryder grow up ever since the first time I seen him on Sarah's show. Good, wholesome people, and sat and watched their kids grow up. That is an advantage of social media, Lyle and Kevin and Pops, is that we get to see this and be part of other people's families. And, you know, it don't get no better.
No, you're right.
Well, you know, social media today has gotten to a point where you can be miles, you know, grandmas and granddads can be miles away from their grandkids and still get to see them grow up, and not just in pictures. I mean, with the FaceTime and all that that's available, you know, through your Facebook messengers, and of course StreamYard and all the other apps that are available out there. You know, it's actually made families closer in a roundabout way if you really think about it.
It is, you know.
To that extent, it does. But at the same time, the people in their own households are getting further apart.
Well, this is true, too.
They are. You know, we got 3 kids. One of them lives probably 30 minutes away. One of them lives about 45 minutes away. And the other one lives a couple, 3 hours away. But we don't see them 2 or 3 times a year. And with this COVID stuff going on, we don't go see them. They don't come see us because nobody knows who's been around who and who's got what. And that's a shame. And I know we're not the only family that's like that, but nobody wants to give whatever it is they have to somebody else. And while I'm mentioning that, we have a lot of people that watch our show that are nurses and people that work in hospitals and different things. God bless you guys, man. Without
Paramedics.
Paramedics, all kinds of stuff. Without the field that we have, and a lot of them are Fisher people, it would be really, really hard for the rest of us to continue on. So we got to thank them for everything they do.
Yeah, they're on the front lines.
Speaking of the nurse, I want to say thank you to Betty Jean Cross. The other night, whenever we were on Rogers on Muskrat Adventures show, she said she made the statement that she would send us some disinfectant wipes and such as that because she had a big stockpile, et cetera, so on and so forth. And I, just kind of laughed it off. And then after the show, she hit me up and said, "What's your address?" And I really want to send it to you. And I got that package just the other day actually. And let me just say, it was a heck of a gesture. I really do thank you, Betty Jean, for everything you did for us. Thank you.
Betty Jean is in the chat tonight, and we want to especially thank her. She is one of the people, and we talk about this all the time, James. She is one of the people that follows most every show.
Yep.
She live feeds on her own, and she don't let her husband talk much when she's going live.
No.
She started out recently. She's doing a bang-up job, and we appreciate everything she does. Like I say, she's one of those on the front line. She's a nurse, and the last time that I had seen something about her that she had posted, she actually is a nurse in a COVID department. So bless you.
Yeah.
And plus, she shares everybody's channels and live feeds.
Yes,
she'll share and share and share. And I mean, kudos to you, lady.
Yeah, and she hasn't been feeling well either. So and it may I'm not going to say because I think I remember what she said, but I could be wrong. Working in a COVID department, so keep that in mind. These people that are out there taking care of all these people, that could very easily be one of us at some point, and we're going to want people like Betty Jean and your old buddy who works on the ambulance crew there,
Wampus
Cat, to come and get you and take care of you when you get to these places. At least I do. I don't want some old sourpuss doing it. I want somebody that shut up and have a good time with you while you're in there.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Bill and Drag said that looks like a piece of bait behind you, Lyle.
That don't look like no bait to me.
Looks like Lyle is the bait.
Yeah, I love that image. That's one that Glenn had left with me, and it is a great picture. I don't know who took that or how they got that picture.
It's an awesome picture.
It is. It really is, and it looks just about like he's going to reach up there and grab you.
Yeah. Might have come out of daggone Big Nasty's fish aquarium.
It might have.
He's got gar in his.
I know it. Michael Murillo. If I got close enough to him, I would lip him. I'd stick my hand right in there and grab hold of that bad boy.
He's liable to take you for a ride, but as big as he is.
I'll round up and take off, man. Let's go.
I had an old buddy used to go out there and do that, grabbing them catfish and stuff like that down in the PD River, down there next to where PD lives. And he used to come home after a weekend of doing that, and his old hands and arms would be tore all to pieces like daggum 20 grit sandpaper all over them. Yeah, I said, "Man, you crazy." I said, "How many turtles?" He said, "We didn't keep the turtles or the beavers, but we throwed them back and we got them." He come back, I think, at one weekend, had like 14 decent-sized flatheads and said they cut the big ones loose. He wouldn't keep the big ones. He said, but he loved to catch them. He said, but them son of a guns that dang near drowned you. You better have a buddy there to help you.
Yep, that's one reason why I'll never do it.
Now, the old boss man used to go out and check tires. He'd put tires down, cut a hole in them, and then wire the inside of them shut and set out tires. And he said he'd go down, pull them tires up, stick his hand over the hole, and then take an old tater sack and they'd dump a little small cat because it would just be full of them little small cats. And he'd have a good old fish fry with about them 8 to 10 inch salt and pepper cats, just picking up tires. I said, nah, you can have it.
Chad says he wanted to see me in a Santa outfit in the background, pitched to be trees, presented presents with elves. You know, that's what's hiding behind that green screen. Well, actually, Chad, I got to tell you, the last time I was at the Catfish conference, Doc and I got crowned and Coke. You remember that, don't you, Kevin?
Oh,
yeah, crown and Coke. I got a crown and a red wraparound thing. Makes me the prince, and Doc was the Coke. We had a blast with that. So you can talk all that junk you want to, but we all know where it's at, don't we, Kevin and James?
I hate I missed that one. That would have been my first one to come. I hate I missed that one.
It was a blast. We had a great time. That's where I met Pop and Kevin. It was a hoot. Everybody that you could imagine from that era that had a Catfish YouTube channel of any size at all was there. We was awarded several things that year from viewers and people that have been around. I never was so taken in my life. I'm a pretty shy guy, but I usually have something to say if somebody says something to me. But I was speechless a couple of times there that year. I really was, and I'll never forget it. Cindy won't. I'm sure Doc won't, but we absolutely had a blast down there.
Yeah, I hate I missed that first one. I really wanted to make it, but it was not going to take place. It was because I seen a lot of great videos and pictures coming from there that year. Yep. That was y'all's first year there too, wasn't it, Kevin?
It was.
That's what I was thinking.
Yep.
That was our first year there, and we had planned on going this year, and then it just wasn't in them. There was too much going on with tournaments and everything else, and our money's wasn't quite where it needed to be, so I had to sacrifice one or the other. And I said, well, I've been to CatCon, and even though I'd love to go back, I just don't. I think that's where I need to cut it. And then, of course, COVID hit, and that threw everything out. I told Pop whenever they started shutting down Monster Quest and all the little tournaments that we had planned on hitting up, I told Pop, I said, you know what? We'd have been better off going to CatCon.
Speaking of CatCon, Mr. Steve Douglas is in the house tonight.
Welcome,
Mr. Douglas.
Glad to see you in chat. It's been a while since we've seen you in here. We were just talking about your event, so we're glad to have you in here.
Yeah, now I've heard it might be moving this coming year. Have you heard anything about that, Lyle?
No, sir, I have not.
I hadn't. I mean, I've heard hearsay, but now whether that's true or not, I don't have a clue. All right, Pop. You know, last Monday night, I put Lyle and Doc on the spot with some old school techniques. And I've heard you say that you fished for many a year before y'all actually done any videoing or stuff. Give me some old school techniques that you used back in the day growing up to go out and catch y'all some food.
Most of my early years of fishing was in the creeks down in South Georgia. We would go at night. We cut gallberry. We had gallberry bushes down there. We would cut bushes down, trim what little bit of limb was on it off, tie lines to them, stick them in the banks, walking down the bank at night, fishing. Our bait, and we talk all the time on here about catching catfish with chicken or catching it with beef or beef heart or whatever, not just the standard cut baits that we use. When we were going to be going to the creek, and we were always planning ahead of time, my job was to get bait to fish in the creek. And in the summer months, especially, all of the woodpeckers and all of that kind of stuff made catfish bait for the creeks. So my job was we had a 10-acre pond on the farm, and it was an area that would just basically we dug 2 big holes and then backed the water in over the timber that was in there. So there was a lot of tall stumps for these birds to nest in.
Right.
So my job was to get bait. Well, I knew I could get bait there, so I would go and chop into these nests to get the birds out. A lot of times I'd have the rifle with me and shoot the adult birds, and then I would be able to chop in and see the smaller birds that were in there, because that was going to be bait. And so we
They'll
used a
string
lot of,
you up for that now.
yeah.
they will.
I remember one incident that was real vivid and will always be. You remember Bill Dance when the snake fell in the boat with him?
Oh yeah.
I can relate to that. I was chopping into a yellowhammer's stump that he had a nest in, and I cut both sides and chopped on the bottom, and then I reached up with my hands and pulled that chunk loose, and a big old snake fell right in the boat, right at my feet. Well, I went to the back of the boat. I left the snake in the front of the boat, and me and that snake actually stayed in that boat together all the way out to the dam of the pond, and he didn't want to get out of the boat. So I turned the boat around backwards and stepped out of the boat and left the snake in the boat and tied that boat up backwards. Well, the next day, my granddaddy went down there and he come back home. He said, "How in the world did that boat get turned around backwards? I always tie it with the bow of the boat up against the dam." I said, "Yeah, you ain't never had a snake in the boat with you either, have you?" Now, that's my explanation. So I'll always remember that growing up. We also would catch crawfish, fish for crawfish. One of the
That's
things,
a good bait for them. That's a good bait for them creek channel cats, crawfish.
yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
One thing that our younger generation has never
Look at there.
experienced is looking for earthworms.
No.
We used to drive a stick in the ground. We called it a stob. And then we'd take a brick and rub that brick, and it'd vibrate the ground, and then the earthworms would come up. We had old Prince Albert can. We'd put them over an old Prince Albert can, and then put them in the bib of our overalls, and that was our bait. Don't see that anymore.
On my leg crank will run them up out of the dirt too, won't it, Lyle?
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
Put you a couple copper rods in the ground, hook your wires up to it, and wet the ground a little bit, and crank on that thing a couple times. Then some of the guns will come straight up like it.
I got to tell you, while you're on that subject, I got a buddy of mine that lives up around Columbia, and he mixes up that orange hand cleaner. What do you call that?
Yeah. Fast orange.
Yeah, fast orange. Mixes that up in a 5-gallon bucket and pours a little bit of it out here. Them babies shoot out of that ground. I don't know what it does to them, but I mean, they can't wait to get away from it.
Wow.
He'll do that in 2 or 3 spots in a yard, and he'll have all of he wants for a long time. It's crazy watching that happen.
Hey, my old boss man, he had a daggum nice 68 Camaro. And he'd drive to work about once a week just to show it off, or just show it off, basically what he's doing. And he had one old guy he worked with that was just a plain old, excuse my language, ass. He'd go out there and sit on the bumper of his car, or he'd lean all over it, put handprints all over his nice shiny. It was almost a cherry red. That son of a gun, he'd come in one morning. He said, "Go out there to lunch a little early and let's watch." I said, "What'd you do?" He said, "I hooked up one of them daggum capacitors." He said, "I disconnected my battery when I come in this morning and hooked that capacitor up and loaded it up before I hooked it up." He said, "Watch it." Son, you could hear the firefly when he leaned up against that cotton picking car. It made the boy weak kneed. He wobbled across that parking lot. He thought lightning hit him. Them old Model 8 capacitors That son of a gun lit him up, son. Blue fire jumped probably about 3 inches, and it grabbed him. It knocked his knees together. I don't think I've ever laughed so hard in my cotton picking life.
Oh,
You could hear it. You could hear it across the parking lot when it bit him, son. It'd load them up and throw them to people.
I had Fairlane was my first car, and when I got it, it was a great car. And of course, like any other thing, I run the crap out of it. It had Shell motor oil had always been run in it, and
Right.
it plugged up the valve or the rocker arms, and they get to squeaking. And I figured out what it was, and it was so bad that instead of fixing it, because I was in the process of building a motor for it anyhow,
Right.
I'd take a squirt can and I'd take a rocker, the valve covers off, I'd squirt them rocker arms with oil, and they quit squeaking for a couple days.
Every day.
I went to pick up my buddy one night, and I'd just done that. It was on a Friday or Saturday night. I was going over to Alan's house to pick him up and laid them spark plug wires back over top of the motor, and I squirted them all down, put the valve cover back on, fired that baby up, and man, I got to noticing it wasn't running very good. And I got over to Alan's house, and it had been that afternoon, and I raised that hood waiting on him to come out, and I seen fire flying all over the place. Well, hell, I always just grab them spark plugs, take them on and off, see which one is missing. I grabbed all 4 of them babies at one time, standing in a public. I ain't never forgot that. I ain't never going to forget that. I mean, I just couldn't turn loose of them. Every one of them going, and that thing was kind of a hot rod anyhow, and
had that hot ignition on it too.
Oh yeah, MSD.
Oh Lord have mercy.
I've been hit by the MSD box before. It's not pretty.
No, it's not.
My best friend and I used to race. We used to street race all the time, and he was all the time building 69 Camaros and what's the other Novas and such as that. And he always put that MSD box in. And let me tell you, I was out there working, and I put my hand in the wrong spot at the wrong moment. Lit me up, son. Lit me up.
The only thing worse is if you ever do stock cars and you do late models with quick change, a lot of times between races they'll water the track down, or to get dry you have to change the gears and rear end. And if you forget to grab a glove, if you have no idea how hot them gears and that rear end gets, and you reach up in there to grab them out, you will never forget that either. I promise you.
Oh no!
Find out
real quick, yeah.
I bought a 7.5 old Mercury. You remember the power of towers? And you had to pull crank it. And the old man was selling it. It was sitting in a 55-gallon drum. You know, they had that Thunderbolt ignition.
Yep.
He pulled and pulled and pulled. This man was probably Pop's age. And he pulled till he was out of breath. I pulled till I was out of breath. And he said, man, I know this thing was running. It was running yesterday because when I talked to you, I made sure it was running because you said you was coming. He took the spark plug out of that. He said, let me hold this thing right here. And you pull it. I said, man, that thing's going to knock you to your freaking knees. Oh, it'll be all right. Yeah, I thought I killed the old son of a gun, son. It hit him. He hit his forehead on that 55-gallon drum. He had a pump knot across his forehead, and he laid out there in the yard. I thought, oh my God, I come to buy a boat motor and I killed this old son of a gun right here. That old Thunderbolt ignition lit his wig, son.
Oh man.
I felt sorry. I thought, man, I wanted to give him double for that motor. It was worth that, but he laughed about it, but he said, man, I don't think I've ever been hit like that. And I said, I don't think you have either. You couldn't take too many of them hits. Well, Pop, what was your first boat you ever had?
First boat I ever had was made out of cypress. We went down to the swamps. We cut down a cypress tree, sawmilled it out into boards, 12-inch width, full 12-inch. Made our own wooden boat. Fished in it from the time I was probably about 6-8 years old, right on up until I got married. Actually fished in it after I got married. On the pond, that was the only fishing we really knew was pond fishing and creek fishing. And that was my first experience with a boat. And when we built it, the bottom of it was actually 12-inch boards run crossways. Granddaddy,
As long as it stayed wet, it wouldn't leak.
yeah, well, he took that thing and soaked it with water, swelled it up, and then somehow he put linseed oil all over it, and somehow that linseed oil soaked through that water into that boat and preserved that cypress and kept it swelled up, kept it tight, and it never did leak. That was the most amazing thing to me, because Granddaddy built it. I helped him as a kid. I was all excited about it, and then fished out of it all my life, even after I was grown and married.
So you guys have seen the movie, oh shoot, Moses, about Moses and the boat that he's on. You know, you've seen that boat, right?
Yeah.
Well, pop that. So I'm just gonna put
not the ark, huh?
Yeah. I mean, you know,
No.
Noah, no, not Moses, Noah.
Let me tell you, if you can find one of those old cypress boats like that, and let somebody take it and go in and redo it, sand it down, and put a good coat of urethane on them, you talking about something beautiful. That old cypress wood is beautiful.
It is. Yep. It really is.
And heavy when they wet, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we didn't pull it in and out of the pond. Once it got on the water, it stayed on the water.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
That's because it was so heavy they couldn't get it out of the water.
So Kevin, what?
Earlier,
go ahead.
Asking what was our favorite species of cat to catch, and if I had to pick one out of the three, I'd say blue cat. I mean, not because I don't like the flathead. It's just that I just like the way those blue cats just hit and run like a torpedo. And but you can't really pick a favorite when it comes to catfishing, because they all fight real well.
Oh yeah, yeah. Are y'all gonna be fishing the monsters on the down at Santee in a month and a half? Or
you talking about the one in September?
Yeah.
No, sir. That was the one that we were going to fish back in March. They had to cancel it, and our monies have kind of run a little bit on the low side since then. But in October, the Big Money Showdown on Watery,
right.
We're planning on going to that one. That'll be our next tournament I'm going to.
I hear you.
Welcome, Doc. Doc Lane.
Doc Lane's in the house.
Yep.
Hey, Doc.
Hey, Doc.
That now that you got your boat and Richard's got you set up pretty good on that rascal, how do you like you dragging your baits now that you got something you can pretty much control? How you doing, and are you still like sticking with your anchor fishing?
You know, I was just gonna say, since we learned how to anchor, I haven't drug bait since. I mean, it's not that I don't want to. Matter of fact, I was giving some good advice about Watery from Jimmy Holbrook today, where he had been down there fishing on Watery, and he said that they'd won quite a few tournaments just dragging bait and everything. But I haven't. We tried it once. It was the wrong time of the year to do it, because it was right at the beginning of the pleasure boater season, and I couldn't keep the boat steady, and I couldn't keep it in the straight line, and I couldn't keep it from rocking back and forth, and we tangled up about 4 rods where I was just about ready to start shooting. It's a good thing I didn't have my gun with me.
Yeah. You need to get you a drift sock, so when you go back to dragging baits and stuff, that'll help with that sideways motion that you get with the winds and the
and get that's a big boat.
Yeah. But otherwise though, I mean, I've got all the necessary tools to do it with, without having to sit up on the front of the boat and foot feed the damn thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Get you a big sock.
actually, when we had the bass tractor, before we got the new boat, I usually kept 2 drift socks in the water back there anyway when I pull my shoes off.
Problem was his feet was in them. I mean,
Well, you notice what I was talking about the other night, last Monday night, the old guys was using 5-gallon buckets as drift socks.
yeah.
So if you out there
Yeah.
drifting and you can't use nothing else and you just need something to help control you in a straight line, tie your rope on that handle of that 5-gallon bucket and throw her out there.
Palmetto Cats, Kevin he reminded me. I have actually, and I'm sorry about that, Kev. I have actually drug baits since I've had the new boat, and it actually did very well. Matter of fact, Kyle got his PB of a 25-pound blue off of it when we went down to the to Santee with Palmetto, and was out there on the boat, and we were dragging down through roughly about 25 foot of water off a beautiful ledge, and it handled those waters real well. So I have actually drug baits. I forgot. Much as I hate to say it, I forgot about that. We actually drug baits that day.
Yeah, he talked about me being old and forgetful.
I was getting ready to say, who is it that call old all the time? Yeah, it doesn't pop.
I mean, you lose a little bit of the essence when you have to put up with that. So.
Oh no.
Well, I'm glad you're getting comfortable in your own boat, and you stay safe out there. And once you feel comfortable in your boat, then you're more apt to start picking more places that normally you wouldn't have fished before.
That's right.
And yourself, you've seen some bad waters the first time you went down to Santee down there. It got pretty rough on you. And so now I'm glad you're comfortable. Richard, y'all done a good job on that boat. It looks good. And
it does.
Keep it busy.
For you guys wanting to know about doing the 5-gallon bucket thing, we used to drill multiple holes in the bottom of them. JR come in here from New School Fishing and said just drill a 2-inch hole in the center of the bottom. Makes sense to me. 2 inches, pretty good size hole. That'll let plenty of water out and slow you down a whole bunch. And if one doesn't do it, have 2 of them in the boat. We've used 2 buckets on John boats years ago. Worked great.
Yep. Yeah, but anything to slow you down, because like Doc said, if that wind gets up on you or whatever, I never even thought about it as a safety device. I really didn't, and it made perfect sense. So, that might be your bait bucket, but you can scatter the bait on the floor when you need to throw something out there to slow you down.
Right. Put it in a live well or a cooler or something. Absolutely.
Yep. Whatever it takes.
That's it. That is a fact. So what do you guys got coming up? What do you got planned coming up that you can tell us about? Something that nobody knows about.
Really nothing at the moment.
Oh.
Well, we got as far as shows are concerned, we'll be on James Dockery's show Thursday.
I feel so sorry for you guys putting up with them.
It's gonna be an awesome show.
It'll be a blast. Those two are a hoot, man.
But we've got a few trips that we're thinking about, trying to get together and like I said, it's so hard to plan a trip nowadays with everything the way it is, and then you gotta look at your monies, you gotta look at what it's going to take to get there, and if it's out of state, you got to buy those licenses, and then different states now have different regulations as far as the COVID-19 thing is going.
Yeah,
so you have to be conscientious about all that. It's a process. It's a real process to try and.
It really is. This year's been tough.
Yeah, it's been a real tough year. But now we've got a few things going with the possibility of doing some more collabs with other YouTubers. Fishing. We've got obviously we're going to be doing more with Pop's channel, merging both of our channels together where we do catch, clean, and cooks like we did with the bluegills.
Right.
And kind of showcasing how we do that. And if we could ever get a hold of another gar, we're gonna do us a catch, clean, and cook on some gar. But what? Oh yeah. And then carp. We're gonna do a catch, clean, cook on a carp. Now that we know what we're doing with carp fishing.
Also, when we were up at the Grand Slam on Sunday after the Grand Slam was over, we went out and did some bait fishing. We didn't get but 3 good-sized white perch. We brought those back. I dressed them out just like the video of the catch, clean, and cook.
Right.
I was going to do a whole, like you told me, James, but because of the fact that we wanted the family to also taste this fish, because none of us have ever eaten, I filleted those out, took the skin off of them, and that way, because there's only like 6 fillets out of those 3 fish.
Yeah.
And we're going to cook those up and do a taste test. Haven't talked with Kevin about exactly how we're going to do it. We may actually do a video on it and of a taste of, what do you call it? Taste test, family taste test, or something like that.
You'll love them.
Not just us, but other people who don't fish, but like to eat fish.
Oh, you'll love them. They good.
I want to tell you guys something on your carp catch and cook. Those babies, if you're talking about common carp, they're pretty good to eat, because I'm sure you all don't have the Asian carp's all white meat. On the common carp, side them babies off, get the scaled and just fillet them out. And when you cut them to score them, no more than 1/8 inch apart on your scores. And you'll get rid of all those bones. They'll cook up in your grease if you got your grease good and hot, and you won't notice it. If they're any wider than 1/8 of an inch, somebody's going to get some bones. I'm just that's just the way it is.
We did up a carp a couple of years ago. One that I actually, first carp I ever caught actually, and we did up. We cleaned it and everything. We wanted to see what it tastes like. You know, everybody was talking about how carp's nasty, and I mean we're kind of the line that just because somebody says it's nasty doesn't necessarily make it nasty. You know what I mean? It's all depends on how you process it. You know. And then a lot of people, what we're hearing was because of the bones, the little wild bones that's in those carp, that they didn't like to eat them. It was just full of bones. They didn't like to eat it. You know, of course, we heard the same, thing with you. I didn't know about the 1/8 of an inch deal, but we heard the same thing about scoring that and letting that grease really get in there and fry out those bones, making them real soft, so you don't really notice it. Matter of fact, I was told that if you do it that way, it gives it, you'll notice it, but it's crunchy, like if it was deep fried. That thing. But we also learned that if you take about a 45-degree angle on either side of those wild bones, once you locate those wild bones and cut just underneath those wild bones, and you can zip that wild bone like a zipper, and then you got fresh meat sitting there. And that's what we did, and we cooked them up, and they were delicious. The carp that we catch aren't still called the common carp, but it is here called a common carp. It's a grass carp, actually. Just your common grass carp is what it is.
They're about the same. They're real close to the same.
You got a little bit different look where your common carp has your, what we call the sucker, the mouth is like pointed down.
Right.
The grass carp, more dead on like a torpedo.
They get big.
Like good.
Oh my gosh! I caught my first. Kevin had caught 2 out of this lake, and we decided that we were going to actually go carp fishing. Can't keep them in that particular lake because they're protected for that lake, but I'd never caught one. So we fished one night, and just about the time we were getting ready to call it a night because it was getting on around midnight, one hit, and oh my gosh, I thought he was going to rip the holder completely out of the boat. He hit so hard.
He hit it so hard, it literally knocked the rod cleaned up out of the rod holder, and just it's a wonder that the rod didn't go in the lake. I mean, it literally cleared the rod holder straight up and then dropped straight back down into the rod holder, and I have yet to realize how that happened. But he took off with it, and I told Papa, I said, "You want it?" And he said, "Hell yeah!"
Oh,
And he had a fight.
It's like they hit it full board on it.
Yeah.
It's like they hit that bait already going 100 miles an hour when they hit it.
Yeah,
You guys-
look him.
But now buffalo's good.
Buffalo is good. All white meat.
Now, that's what I've ever had is buffalo. We don't have them that I'm aware of. We don't have them down here in these waters, in my waters. At least way he's not in Sinclair.
Right.
Now they are up in Georgia waters. They're just up in the northern part of the state.
But
That's a bulldog right there, buddy.
You guys have a invitation from New School Fishing, and next time you're down to jump in the boat and go fishing with him.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you get a hold of them buffalo, you'll know that because that rascal got some broad shoulders on him.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of videos where plenty guys have caught them and everything. There's a local boy that I follow some or did follow anyways. He hasn't put anything out in a while that I'm aware of anyways. But he caught some. I forget where he was at. I think he was in North Georgia when he caught it. And let me tell you, I saw the way it bent down, and I'm like, holy crap! It wasn't even that big of a drum or buffalo.
Pop, if you want to figure out how to cook them, you talk to Mr. Jeff Manning. He'll tell you real quick that's his favorite fish to eat is the buffalo. And that rascal right there, I'm sure he's cooked them up because that son of a gun's caught some 70-pounders out of Lake Wiley.
Them are huge.
Well, the world record come out of Lake Wiley, it was an 88-pounder.
Wow.
So
them are really, really big buffalo.
Yeah, that lake's got some big buffalo down there. Big freaking buffalo. He got some big carp, but the buffalo's monsters.
The Mississippi River has giants in it along with common carp. The thing about that is that's what the commercial guys should be catching. And they do, but they should be targeting them instead of our catfish.
I think it's the old wise tales and lower class people eat carp. They don't, you know what I'm saying? So people never give it a try. If they'd ever give it a try, I mean, don't get me wrong. You do. It's like any fish. You got to cut that mud streak out of them. And, it's the same with the catfish. You don't cut it out. You might get a pretty bad taste in your mouth out of some of it. But,
we used to have a restaurant back here on Friday nights that have all you could eat carp at that restaurant. Now, this is when I was growing up. Cindy's brother, he would go in there on Friday nights. Of course, he was a lot bigger then and a lot younger. They'd actually make him quit eating it. Now, you're talking about in the late 70s, maybe early 80s, and they would make him quit eating. And I'm guessing it was probably $3, $4, $5, $6 all you could eat.
Yeah.
They'd stop him every Friday night because he'd just keep going.
That's like me and them little salt and pepper cats. I'll pile the bones. Bring them on, bring them on, bring them on.
Yep.
Did they look at him and say, it's all you can eat, not eat all you can?
Well, he was a big guy. He still is pretty good size, but he's not near the size he was in those days. But I mean, I could eat a lot more then than I can now too, but I couldn't keep up with him on them. There ain't no way.
I've never got to eat buffalo. I tried common carp, and I hadn't had grass carp. But, yeah, I want to go down there with Mr. Jeff Manning and get him to put me on some of them old big buffalo. I'm scared it might ruin me. I might have to change my name on my channel if I do that, though.
Palmetto Cats, Cindy Stokes, Lyle's looking thin. You need to fix him some cinnamon roll. I'm agreeing with that. I ain't had none for so long. Pretty sure, but Kevin, I'm full figure. I ain't lost no weight. I would still eat some cinnamon rolls.
I ain't had no good cinnamon rolls in years.
Wow. And if Cindy's neck is close to you like she normally is, I'm going to put that in. That if we ever get to meet up again, regardless of where we are, I want some cinnamon rolls.
You know, she has taken them to some guys and different places. We've actually traveled in the truck, and they was in pans behind my seat. And when we stopped to get gas and go to the bathroom and everything, she would come out of the store and check them to make sure I didn't get in them. They were designated to go to somebody, you know. We went to Fishing for Freedom with Quincy, and she had a list of people that got them. And one of the sweetest ladies, Mindy Hall, that does a lot for them, or always has, she had a pan for her and her dad. And Randy Gritchenbacher, that was running that event, he didn't get his name on none of them, and he begged Mindy for one. finally let him have one, but she didn't. You know, she was saving them. I mean, they're pretty good. I'll just say that they're pretty good. Never seen anybody eat one that didn't want another one. You know, and I feel so fortunate that when she makes them, I get them when they first come out of the oven, and I'll grab a big old pat of butter and slip on that baby. And usually I'm taking pictures of it and send it to somebody. But then if I ever get another like that, I'll go live.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Y'all talking about cinnamon rolls. Y'all making her hungry.
That smell TV, huh, Lyle?
It was. It was, you know, it's really good. They're really good. But I got to tell you, that year that we was all down there at the conference, I was fortunate enough to be asked to be a judge on the catfish cooking deal, and that was really good too. That was really good. There were some great fish cooked up that year. Pop, you need to do that next year if you guys go down there.
Yep.
The cook-off.
Yep. That was good.
Oh yeah, we'll have to go catch them out of Ohio.
They furnished them for everybody that year, so. But they was good. Kevin, Pop, I can't thank you guys enough for coming on here and spending your Monday night with James and I. We've absolutely had a blast having you in here, and we need to not wait so long before we do it again.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good. Enjoyed it.
Yep.
Absolutely, Pop. Keep cooking. Every time I see a meal you fix up, I get hungrier and hungrier, and then I gotta go have a snack. I'm dreaming after this deal with Kevin. I'm dreaming about cinnamon rolls, but I might as well forget about that. I'm pretty sure.
I think old Pop and Big Nasty need to do a collaboration video, a cooking collaboration video.
There you go.
We were actually going to do that when we were up when we went to get the boat. That was actually one of the things that Big Nasty had said that he and Pop could. I mean, of course, this was before Pop had had his thing, but we was actually talking about doing a collab that way, and then where he cooked up and had us there to taste test and all that good stuff. But that's kind of, we haven't really talked about it, but it's kind of some of the things that we've been kind of thinking on.
Cool.
Pop's got there's a what's his name? Papa Joe.
Yeah, Papa Joe.
There's a cooking channel called Cooking with Papa Joe or something like that.
Yeah, just Papa Joe.
Oh, is it just Papa Joe? Anyways,
Papa Joe.
He's out of North Georgia, and we're looking to possibly do something with him. I don't know when that'll take place, but that's one of the things that Pop and I have been talking about. But
y'all could use the StreamYards, and one of you bring the other in or something like that, and you wouldn't have to be there together and already have the ingredients talked up and stuff, so y'all could be working on one thing, one on the other. I think it'd be a cool show. I'd like to watch something like that.
Kevin, tell us where they can find you guys on Facebook and on YouTube.
YouTube, of course, is K&B Anglers. It's just straight up K&B Anglers. On Facebook, I actually have two Facebook accounts. I have my personal, Kevin Lee McGill, actually, and then on the fishing channel itself, it is KB Anglers, and you just Google KB Anglers, and it should pull us right up on Facebook. We also have, by the same name, KB Anglers Instagram account. where we throw pictures up every so often and kind of keep that going a little bit on Instagram.
What about Pop's cooking shows?
The cooking show, of course,
Does Pop have one?
is cook, country cooking with Twerking Monkey. That's YouTube. We haven't set up a Facebook on that yet. It's just strictly on YouTube at the moment. But we are planning on doing some Facebook. And we hadn't set up Instagram yet. But we're gonna be setting that up pretty soon as well.
Awesome. Keep up the good work, guys. You guys are killing it. Enjoy watching all your stuff and being a part of it. And we want to thank you guys for being a part of Catfish Weekly tonight.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless y'all guys.
Absolutely. James, you got anything else to talk about tonight?
No, sir. I think we covered it all. Had a good time, and of course, I always have a good time. Me and Kevin, every once in a while, have a couple hour talk in the middle of the night when I'm up. So, hey, of course, I always enjoy it. Guys, be safe out there on the water. Make sure you take us all with you. And everybody, there's been new channels in here tonight. Check them out. Share the love. We'll see y'all Wednesday night.
Absolutely. Be sure to tune in to Patriot James Catfishers of America Wednesday night. We'll be back next Monday night. And let me check, but I believe Mark with Catfish and Crappie will be our guest next week.
Sir.
Yes, Mark with Catfish and Crappie will be our guest next Monday night. We got a couple other we got a couple of them coming up. It's going to be got one that's going to be really good. We're waiting to get a date set up. We're trying to get her on here for the 7th, and I promise you, if we get this, when we get this and done, you're all going to want to watch it. It's going to be really instructional, very, very key, and somebody that really knows what they're talking about as far as catching catfish and flatheads in specifics. So it'll be a good deal. I will have a new product to introduce to you Monday night. I'm not going to say anything about what it is now, but it'll be a blast. It's a great looking thing. You're going to love it. And I want to thank everybody for watching the show. We'll see you all next Monday night. Thanks for watching Catfish Weekly.